Well, welcome again to the Grants Pass Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Steve Van Meter, your senior minister, and our March theme is Open to Possibilities, Visioning. And today's talk title is Open Arms. As you can see, I'm in a different place today. I'm not in my usual living room. I'm actually in Chris's daughter's house in her office. Isn't this nice? This is a great space. But it's a little different technology. So if you see me looking around like I don't know where I am, I'm only finding my place. Well, this month, we open to the highest idea of our lives through the spiritual practice of visioning, which is different than visualization. And it is opening up to the impress of spirit through this process called visioning, which allows us to tap into a realm of possibilities much greater than we can even begin to imagine for ourselves. See, when we start to imagine things individually, we have a great imagination. But when we tap into Source's imagination, we are provided with an energy of all possibility. The question here is, what beliefs, ideas, and actions must we embrace, embody, and become to live in alignment with our vision? Embracing these things brings us into the realization of our vision. So we see a world in which every person lives in alignment with their own highest spiritual principles, emphasizing unity with God, source energy, whatever you want to call it, and their connection with each other. See, it is in our connection with each other that we demonstrate the power of connection, of love. And it is through the practice of having open arms that we can be open to possibilities. You know, when I first started coming into this teaching, I was a very closed person. I had to have my hands and my arms crossed. I was very uncomfortable in my body. For me to be doing this and opening my arms was very, put me in a very vulnerable body position that I wasn't used to. But I encourage you to practice doing an open arm to the universe. It changes your whole DNA structure, I'm telling you. But being open in consciousness and open in physicality allows things to come into our experience. And our connection with each other is part of this. We live in a world in which individually and collectively, we are called to a higher state of consciousness. That's why we're here. This next portion of my reading is from our Science of Mind principles and our global vision that states, we believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God, or whatever you believe it to be, source energy, higher power, Christ consciousness, you fill that in. But we need to be in close contact with it. We need to have an open arm stance and an open mind experience. Direct revelation is the practice of using principles as spiritual beings to live in freedom and experience heaven right here as individualized expressions of the one infinite reality. We have access to infinite wisdom and the intelligence of ultimate reality. It flows through us as us, but only to the degree that we set our previous ideas aside and become aware and conscious of the impress of universal spiritual principles. Are you open? You may say you're open. You may stand there going, sure, I'm open. I'm open to this. And I'll tell you, I resisted for a long time until I could stand. I had a lot of processing to do until I could stand open and be an open consciousness for spiritual impress. We must be able to transform our ability to believe. Direct revelation is available to us through our intuition and can be intentionally cultivated through the process of visioning. So how does one change our beliefs? You know, we can only demonstrate at the level of what we truly believe, what we truly know. You may believe something. You may believe that pigs can fly, but if you don't have a direct revelation of that and seeing a pig fly, there may be part of you that says it but doesn't believe it. By setting aside our disbelief, and we do this every time we watch a movie, we set aside our disbelief so we can be enthralled in the story that's being presented us in the movie. When we are consciously using the creative process, we embrace a new thought or a new idea, planting it into the creative medium, assured of its demonstration by our embodiment of it, by our belief, not only our belief, but our knowing. Instead of using the creative process to demonstrate changed conditions, in visioning, we use the creative process to embrace a new way of being, the embodiment of which results in personal transformation. And that's why we're here, isn't it? Personal transformation. You know, we came to this plane of existence to experience personal transformation. But boy, when it's in front of us and we're in the midst of a personal transformation, we resist it with all our heart until we fall into it with open arms, don't we? You know, sometimes it takes enough life to gather itself and become us that we make that shift. We do not manifest our vision. Rather, we attune and align ourselves with it, becoming the avenues through which it reveals itself as our lived experience. So, with open arms and open minds, and when I say open arms, I want you to think open minds as well, because open arms is a physical thing, but we need to open our minds as well to new ideas to flow in. Let's embrace something new. When something or someone is embraced as an act of receptivity, it implies a level of enthusiasm. Are you enthusiastic about your vision? We cannot experience what we are unwilling to receive. It just won't work. You can't speak of lack and expect to experience abundance. It's contrary to the way that energy flows where our attention goes. We must speak abundance to live abundantly. And we can only demonstrate the law at the level of our true beliefs, and I would say of our knowingness. In asking, what must I embrace in the visioning process, we're actually asking, what must I be receptive to that will bring me into greater alignment with the vision spiritual energy has for me in my life? What possibilities am I open to? What opportunities for growth do I welcome? And sometimes we get stuck. I mean, let's just, it's okay that we get stuck sometimes, but don't get so stuck that moss starts growing in your arena. Moss doesn't grow on a rolling stone. For all you Rolling Stone fans out there, you know who you are. So what changes do we need to wrap our arms around with open arms, holding it lovingly, holding it to our true nature? What serves to transform us in my continual evolution? Next, we need to embody our vision. Embody the embodiment of the vision. And our open arms begin to close around someone or something or that vision. In an interview with Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith, who was very instrumental in the visioning process that we teach today in our movement, it was written in the Science of Mind magazine, 1996, where he said, "We pray affirmatively, not about how to accomplish the vision, but rather about ways in which we need to grow. What qualities do we need to embody?" This is so important. We don't tell the universe how. It's so important that that's really not our business. We get to tell the universe what we choose to be, do, and have. What is your ultimate vision? What is the reason that you came to this plane of existence to express and experience life? And, we think it's some huge thing, and it can be as simple as, I came here to learn to love more. Embracing an idea is an opening in our consciousness. Embodying an idea is a demonstration of the embodiment of that consciousness. To embody something is to go beyond mental or intellectual knowledge of something and to go beyond a heartfelt understanding of it. When we embody something, when we embody it completely, we haven't assimilated it into our consciousness. It has become part of who we are in such a degree that it becomes instinctual. Like getting out of bed in the morning. I use this constantly because it's an easy way to check if you've embodied something, a belief or not. Do you know that the ground will be there when you step out of bed in the morning? Do you have to say a prayer to what you believe so that you can get your foot onto the floor? I think that most of us, depends on what kind of night you had last night, know that the floor is going to be there in the morning, and we jump out of bed, we hit the ground running, and we start our day. Well, some people roll out of bed on the other side. But we don't question our knowing that the floor is there. We've come to understand that that is part of our life experience. So what we need to do is know that what we choose to be, do, and have is a knowing, just like the floor is there. It's that type of belief that I'm talking about. We don't question that the ground is there. We step right onto it. It is a knowing. There is zero skepticism in knowing. You don't go, well, I think I want to have a focus group and do a pie chart on whether the floor is going to be there for me. You just know it. Zero skepticism. Now, skepticism is a great tool when we're processing. It keeps us from stepping in front of buses and, falling off of cliffs. We check things out. We look at it. We weigh the pros and cons. But what about embodiment? Embodiment implies that something has taken form. It is demonstrated. It has come to pass. It has brought you exactly what has been needed in that moment, and it is over. But we hold on to what happened and we relive it, and that's where we get stuck. It's okay to get stuck sometimes. Sometimes we want to get stuck in 80s rock and roll and stuff like that. But there are some things we need to let go to embrace something new. So we must ask, what must I know so deeply that it becomes casual talking for me, that it becomes who and what I am? Don't just believe something, know it. You see, for believers, proof is not necessary. And for the skeptic, no proof is ever enough. They will always say, well, yeah, but there was this, or yes, but there was that. Again, for believers, proof is not necessary. And for the over-skeptical person, no proof is ever enough. So finally, we become our vision. We embrace it to the point that we embody it so completely that it becomes us. Embracing and embodying are activities of conscious cultivation. It's a process. It can happen in the twinkling of an eye. It can happen instantaneously. Dogs do this when they are on a scent and then they get onto another scent. They don't have to go to a workshop or buy the book or have counseling, but sometimes they do need that. We all need that sometimes, but it can happen miraculously in the twinkling of an eye. So becoming, on the other hand, is the act of allowing us to suspend our disbelief, just like stepping into a movie. We need to know something so completely that there's no questioning. It is who and what you are. That is knowing. So when we ask envisioning, what must I become to actuate this vision? We are asking, what divine qualities within me am I being called to remember as my truth? Being that truth. We need to be the truth that we are in our life. And then we can then begin being living embodiments of our vision because we are in complete alignment with it. We are it. This vision begins to pull us into it magnetically. We are drawn. There's nothing more powerful than a mind that has made up its mind to be, do, or have something. Obstacles may come up, and they do, and we'll say, no, that's not the truth of me. So in conclusion, we do not manifest the vision. It already is. We release and we let go of the obstacles that we have put in our own way to see things clearly. We begin to embrace the new vision of who we are. We embody it. We become it. And we become that which we already are. And in doing so, we are transformed by the renewing of our minds. We begin to try on that vision like a new set of clothes. You know, what would an artist have for breakfast? And start eating what you think an artist would have for breakfast if you want to be an artist. But we need to embody it. See, the vision already is. It is in our transformation of it that we begin to live its realization. But we need to know it's possible with open arms. The possibilities for our lives are infinite. It starts with an embrace. It starts with open arms and an open mind. And what will you become with your newfound freedom? And so it is. Amen. Well, again, thank you for joining me this morning. It's time for our healing prayer now. So I invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, or you can leave them open. But I invite you to take a stance of opening your hands and your arms right now. And just for this prayer, feel the physicality of being open physically and being open mentally. So I invite you to bring to the forefront of your consciousness what you believe the energy of life is to you. You can call it anything you want. Source energy, God, Christ consciousness. But I think that we can agree that there is a power. It is always on. It is always manifesting and recycling itself back into itself. For energy in motion stays in motion, even when acted upon by an outside source, which is an inside source. And we become it. We are unified in the field of all possibility. What is your vision for your life? What are you choosing to be, do, or have? Maybe a healing. Maybe the release of something. Maybe the embrace of something new in your life. As you begin to imagine yourself being, doing, and having that energy, let us know that the infinite universe is shifting itself right now and moving itself in a way that allows you to outpicture and envision your vision for yourself. Knowing that that power that we are has been activated, that the healing energy of the universe, the magnificent, miraculous healing energy of the universe that creates worlds, is now active in your situation, right here and right now. How good it is to know that whatever we are walking through, we are never alone. We are always all one. So we are grateful for the demonstration of the things that we choose to be, do, and have. How good it feels to know that we have come here for a purpose, and we are fulfilling that purpose right here and right now, each one of us. So we let go. We release this word directly into the living, loving law of mind, where it is transformed by the renewing of our mind. Something wonderful is happening by means of each one of us right here and right now, as we affirm it together by saying, and so it is. Amen. Well, again, thank you all for joining us this morning. It's time for our offertory. So I invite you to find your give button or your donate button or however you decide to give. But let's imagine that our gifts are in our hand. Let's hold them close to our heart and bless them today. From the pure energy of love, these tithes and gifts have been collected. They are evidence of our faith, our belief, and our ability to manifest in this world of form. They do good works to the world, and we are renewed by the renewing of our mind. And yes, let us speak our offertory sharing idea today, which says, I transform my life and others by sharing my prosperity. Let's say that again. I did it backwards. I know I prayed first. I transform my life and others by sharing my prosperity. And it is in the sharing that we all become one, that we all manifest the vision. So I want to, again, thank you all for these tithes and gifts that allow this Grants Pass Center for Spiritual Living to be here, to be available, and to be accessed every Sunday morning, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m. for meditation, every Wednesday evening at 6:30 for our Wednesday service. And all of the services that our practitioners provide are financed by your gifts, and we are blessed to be here for you.